All right, so I completed mowing the lawn. I had to move a whole bunch of stacks of stick stacks, and this issue I've been having with the drive belt on the tractor. I think I'm probably going to have to get a new one. It's pretty stretched out. That or there's an issue with the spring on the tensioner because I was able to find a tensioner pulley that I could like slide. It made it easier to get the thing back on the other pulley. And if I'm not careful, previous to today, I would be able to it's got a lever thing on the right hand side that's got a forward and neutral and a reverse, but that's graded for speed on the forward and reverse. And you can put it up and put it down. You can put it to neutral and then back, and you can technically you're not actually supposed to use the brake pedal thing. That's actually for engaging the emergency brake or whatever. There's a stop that keeps it in park. But I mean, you can use it to slow down a bit, but it also puts things in neutral. It really doesn't. There's no brakes. There supposedly is a transaxle brake, but I'm guessing that I don't know. It works kind of. So, anyways, I ended up having to basically keep my. Okay, so let me step back a second. What ended up happening was I found where the tensioner would move, and I was able to get it out of place to get the belt back on. But then it starts making this sound while I'm driving. I'm like, well, what is that? So periodically it would pop off. I think I had to replace the belt onto the pulley like probably 6 or 7 times in about a 3-4 hour period. Had to be real careful about it. And what I found is that clacking noise has something to do with that tensioner pulley. So I would just kind of just feather that transaxle brake pedal and it would stop making the noise. And so then I was also having to kind of stop before shifting speeds or whatever too, just to be safe. Oh, pardon me. That's the Benadryl. I'll get to the update part on the is it chiggers, is it hives, is it poison ivy? So anyways, yeah, so I had to deal with this, and also the ground's a little wet because it rained yesterday. So a lot of places where, normally I could just kind of jam on the high speed and try and move through, or, it's a limited slip differential, so one wheel spins and the other doesn't, and I have to kind of back and forth, lean on the thing like this, put my weight on it and get it to move. That wasn't happening. And then I kept popping the thing off the pulley too. I'm like, ugh. So I had several instances where just the slightest incline like that, and I couldn't get up. And if I went too hard at it, I would just pop the thing off the pulley. So I actually had to like follow the yard up around the house to the other side, to the high end of things, to come down like several times. I wasted a bunch of gas doing that. But I did get the lawn mowed, got all the sticks and stuff moving out of the way. I've got a pretty large haul. I've got an old trailer that I've got to air the tires up and be very careful with this clutching situation on the tractor, but I should be able to get everything to the fire pit. But as it is, the fire ring is full completely, stacked about 5 feet high with sticks already. And I was going to burn some stuff tonight, but I am so beat and itchy that I just decided not to do it. It's a full moon. Would have been the perfect night, magic in the air and all that. And at the same time, I just don't even have the oomph. So, anyways, I've got when it dries out again, if it rains hard tomorrow, I've got a large stack of wood to burn, of just sticks and stuff. I think before I burn that, I'm actually going to harvest the rest of the corkscrew willow that's up next to the driveway because it's starting to really rot out. And there's a decent sized trunk on that grew out to about this big around, or I'd say probably about that big around. It's big at the bottom, about 7-8 feet tall, corkscrews out to about an inch diameter at the top. So all of that willow, I'm going to harvest, chop up, split down, whatever I got to do to get it to fit into the 5 or 6 paint cans that I got. I'm going to build a raging inferno of a fire, and it's going to have all the charcoal in the center of it in cans. It's going to make charcoal. And then I've got a whole other stack to do it again because there is another even way bigger volunteer corkscrew willow that came up and then subsequently died, of course. It's very soft wood. Where a lot of the driveway drainage kind of goes down into a gully and eventually to the creek. So anyways, that's kind of what's up with it. A couple places here and there fine tuning to get at the some grass that I didn't cut because there was, I had to stack stuff off to the side. It was a big slider puzzle rearranging thing. But basically, the grass on my lawn is no longer 3.5 feet tall. I did manage to not mow over the parsnips in the lawn. I've got a couple of clumps that I've got to go out and very, very delicately sickle around the edges to keep that clear and make room for the parsnip plants to grow, because then that way, of course, I can harvest those wonderful roots come the fall. But in the meantime, there's just these funny little tufts here and there, and I also managed to, pardon me again, managed to not run over the large and healthy bardocks out in the yard, so I got those staying good. And I have to go out and make absolute sure tomorrow that I did not accidentally run over any hemp plants in the yard. From where I mowed, I kind of walked out beforehand and took note of where things were, and I'm pretty sure I missed them. So I think all 9 plants are still out there. They're getting pretty big. There's a couple of them are almost 15 inches tall. The tallest ones definitely have at least 3 flower buds per stem, and there are like attendant side plants that are starting to come up too. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. What else? Yeah, making charcoal, mowed the crap out of the lawn, about killed the mower several times. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a very active day. So the final thing I'll get at is the previous video about whether or not bugs or poison ivy or whatever. I've got a mosquito bite on my temple right here. Tell you what, let me head for the bathroom here with some better light. Show you what's going on here. Pretty sure I got a bug bite on my lip. Got that big monster. All them little dimplies are hives. Couple bug bites here and there. I think I got a bite here. Scratches and... Oh, that white line is from the arm of my chair. That's not a scar. Yeah, so... Looking alright. The Benadryl's definitely helping. The hives are really... I mean, they're there, but they're not as bad. And then this, I think, is parsnip. It almost acted like poison ivy, but not quite. But the parsnips will burn. And then... all these little spots here. That might be poison ivy, but it could just be allergic reaction. I don't really have it so much on this side. And the reason for that is that the outlet on the mower is on that side. So everything that blows out and poofs that way, it ends up hitting back. So the worst of it is honestly on this side here. This is all hives, and can't really show you my back, but I got a nice suntan, almost a burn at the lower back. And yeah, I mean, it was an active day. Oh yeah. Cuts and scratches too. This one on the back of my hand was from the driver's side rear fender on my F-150. It's pretty rusty, and the other day I was walking out there and just swing my arm as I walk, kind of thing, and crap, and it started bleeding. So anyways, yeah, nothing's really acting like poison ivy. I guess I'll find out. I've had it before. I did take a shower. I did use I use the antibacterial soap, but not the dish soap. And if any of this does start acting like poison ivy, basically the solution to that is wash it without water first with dish soap. Get it all lathery and rinse it off in really, really hot water and just wash the shit out of it with dish soap. Dish soap is an excellent degreaser, and poison ivy is an oil. On the note of poison ivy, I've also got quite a few. I've got a couple colonies yet. I got some places I managed to chop a bunch down before it got leafy and as bad as it could be. And then that colony that I previously shown in videos that's over by the barn is still there. It's got runners reaching out a good 5 feet from it. That the wall's 4 or 5 feet up, and these runners just kind of reach out and keep going. An interesting thing about that is if I find myself in a position with any kind of gainful employment, what I can do is pick up a couple gallons of paint thinner. And what I'm going to do, if I can manage to afford this, is I'm going to have, I've got a couple of like short Rubbermaid totes that are it's what I used to use for the newspapers. But basically, I'm going to get something that size. I'm going to cut a segment of one of these poison ivy runners, very carefully, of course, with gloves. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pickle this in paint thinner, and the reason for that is that if you use in Japan they use xylene, I believe, or toluene, which will be in paint thinner. That's basically paint thinner. It is an organic solvent that breaks down all kinds of lipids and everything else. And basically, in the case of poison ivy, it turns out that the oil inside can actually be dissolved through this process I'm describing. I'm actually going to use the xylene or toluene or whatever it is to try and draw the poison oil out for the most part so that I can eventually have a dried poison ivy wood magic wand. Or stave, or however you want to look at it. It won't be a little dinky Harry Potter thing. This will be a half staff. See what it does, right? But so the thing is that the residue that you get out of the poison ivy by doing this can actually be used as shellac. In Japan, it's an ancient tradition of theirs that there are these... it's kind of a black shellac on a lot of pottery and dishes and things. People would eat out of it. It's perfectly okay to do because once it's glazed over, it's not poisonous. You've dissolved and chemically altered it, and it bonds with whatever you put it onto, and it works just like a clear coat slash stain. Only it's made from the active chemical in poison ivy. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if I don't have anything I can really stain or do anything with for that, but like I said, I do have. With my occasional occult practice these days yet, that I think it might be kind of cool to have a poison ivy wand. Just, who's got one of those? Who can say that? So we're gonna see. But yeah, and as you noticed, I was yawning quite a bit. Taking a heavy dose of Benadryl to deal with the itching and the inflammation of all of this. On the upside of the ridiculous amount of histamine that I had to deal with today with cutting grass and all the weeds and everything, is that histamine is actually an arthritis pain reliever. So some issues I have with my hands and my back and other such, with all this histamine coursing through my body, there's no excuse to have any sort of body bone ache joint pain at this time. My hands are a little stiff, but then again, I've been, driving a lawnmower for hours. But aside from that, nothing really hurts. It's pretty cool. My back's a little sore, but it's not like ow painful. It's just I got to be careful what angle you get that twinge. And honestly, that hasn't gone away too much for the last several weeks, so I definitely overdid it when I was in Pekin. But the subsequent scything and sickling, which is why I bit the bullet and got lawnmower gas. But I don't regret it because, still got my fingers crossed on a job. On that front, I did get a text from the lady today. She said she got really busy and would call me later. I'm assuming she's going to call me tomorrow because it's already pushing 11. And if she had a busy day, I used to be married to, still technically maybe, I don't know, it's in process, a manager. I understand how that goes. It's very busy. I also kind of recognize that if they do end up deciding to put me in a spot like that I may end up making money that I never have time to spend, but who knows. So anyways, I'm going to sign off with that. Coming up right on 14 minutes, and now you have your answer. I believe that this is mostly bug bites and allergic reaction hives, and we will find out if I've got poison ivy tomorrow.